A sounder of wild boar speeds through a housing estate in Hong Kong, chased by an angry security guard. The city has a pig problem, and nowhere is it worse than the Peak, home to some of the world's most expensive property, thanks to the iconic view. At night, wild pigs wander past outrageously expensive blocks of flats looking for food and rifling through millionaires' rubbish.
頭先有一隻咧，就過馬路咧，就俾架車撥到佢嚇走咗。第二啲咧都係唔走啊，照繼續食，有理冇理，炒到爛晒先，不能接受。
I met a family of pigs on this road. At night, I tried to shoo them away, but a piglet decided to take a bite at my shoe.
如果係咪因為有人餵個嘢俾佢食咧？我哋一定要 make sure 佢哋咬我隻鞋，唔好怕人。
And the piglet realized it was not food, but it was a close call, and it really scared me in a way that these wild animals have no more fear towards human beings. That may be reassuring from a big love kind of standpoint, but I don't think that is natural.
It's the job of District Councillor for the Peak, Jeremy Young, to deal with complaints here. These days, that means hearing about how boars are making a mess and frightening people.
Residents are faced with them coming to the refuse collection points and rummaging all over the foodways, making a big mess. Wake up in the morning, open the curtains, look! And then they take a WhatsApp photo and send it to me. Jeremy, deal with this. Okay. Causing potential safety issues as well. It's been a daily occurrence to deal with them. I have no problem with wild pigs living in the wild. That's where they should belong.
And this is an old squatter area that has been demolished a long time ago, so this is where the pigs always hang out. This is their home, really.
Down the hill from the Peak is Pok Fu Lam, where Paul Zimmerman is District Councillor. He's been living in Hong Kong since 1984.
If you live outside the city, you just don't know anything about it. You know, Hong Kong is this high-density city where everything's totally packed, which is true too, but that's our core urban areas. But people don't know that you just walk out for 10 minutes and you're in pure nature from most places. So it used to be when I arrived here 10 years ago, the leading complaints was about public transport, minibuses and frequency, all those issues. And then 10 years later, my top complaint issue has been wild boars.
I think the number of sightings and the mess they've been making has been probably tripled or quadrupled since about 3 to 4 years ago. That kind of coincided with the government's decision to put the original pig hunting team on hold.
Instead, what the government is doing is catching the animals, neutering them, then releasing them in the wild. But Jeremy and Paul both say the plan is a failure, with only a handful of animals caught. And it takes plenty of manpower to do that.
It's really hard to catch them safely. Then they dart them. But to go out, they come with 3 cars, 10 people, with all different tasks. So it's a big team effort. And it takes them a whole afternoon, and they'll take, two wild boars out. 10 people. I mean, it might be easier to just shoot them and kill them.
Now there are calls for just that, with a local pressure group asking the government to be allowed to start hunting them before the situation gets completely out of control. There are reports that in villages in the new territories away from the urban sprawl, that's already happening, and the meat is even being sold in restaurants.
I am told that there is a restaurant in one of the country parks on the edges in the village area where you can basically let the guys know a week ahead of time that you like to eat wild boar the next time you come around. And here there is absolutely no hunting culture, so people don't used to that idea. We also have no fireworks in this city. I mean, except for government organized. The Brits and now the Chinese government, they would loathe to see the population armed with explosives or guns. They don't like that idea. It could be used for other purposes that they don't particularly appreciate. There is some islands here where the locals would trap an animal, and for certain festivities, it's a big barbecue.
Behind closed doors, Chief Executive Carrie Lam told a committee in 2019, which was the year of the pig in the Chinese calendar, that the only thing that will kill the boars are tigers and a pandemic. That was months before the actual coronavirus pandemic. Reports of people being attacked are common. On the 30th of April, a couple were bitten by a boar while hiking on Hong Kong Island. Despite the wealth of negative publicity, boars are a surprisingly popular sight. Pressure from pro-boar groups led to the government halting the cull team.
I love animals too. At the same time, I am quite rational when it comes to balancing the safety priorities of human versus the population of wild animals. The new generation of the wild boars who have been exclusively fed on human diet, they don't know what the right diet is. They are becoming junk food boars, and I see some residents, very loving people, they actually bring food to feed the pigs. That's just wrong.
哇，好勇敢啊呢個姐姐。Well, she's very kind.
New, supposedly boar-proof bins were introduced last year.
改咗呢啲垃圾桶設計，你揾唔到食啦係咪啊？返去大自然揾食啦，唔好嚟我哋人類嘅垃圾站度揾食啦，好唔好啊？
But he doesn't think they've made much difference.
Theoretically, these lids are supposed to be closed. And only when you step on this orange pedal, will this orange lid be lifted so you can put the garbage inside. But obviously, after a few months of usage, you can see this pedal is no longer working. Oh, a little bit. But it doesn't matter because it's all overflowing. The lids are open. This lid is gone. And this has no deterrent effect on wild animals, and specifically wild pigs in this case.
So what next? Jeremy doesn't think hunting will ever be allowed in Hong Kong, but he does think a cull will help.
I don't know why exactly did the government put a stop to it, but I can suspect that it was due to the pressure from certain pressure groups that basically had zero tolerance to killing any animals. But I can see that the number of sightings and the mess that they've been making and the safety concern by residents is on the rise. So I think we have to revisit whether that decision should be reversed. Dinner time. Is it just you today or you bring your family? Sorry, not tonight.